Hello and welcome to another episode of Mews R&D mini podcast. Today with Alex Ratman.
Hello.
Senior software engineer and a person that I always kind of connect with the word observability because it's a word that resonates a lot these days. So how did you get to observability, and was it always the case for you in Mews?
First of all, I'm glad to hear that, and thank you very much for mentioning that. It's very important to me. And regarding my story, I joined Mews somehow in the late 2021. I joined the productivity team, which was actually responsible for all of the developer experience things for the front end at the time. And about 1 or 2 years later, we were dealing with some kind of performance stuff on the customer side, where actually we needed some data. At that time we were kind of blind, if I can use that word. The natural choice for getting some information about what's going on the customer side was the main platform that we are using at that time, New Relic. And the whole story actually began. We were picked as a team which will be responsible for creating a kind of first observability solution for the front-end engineering. We made some research. We also trying to find some alternatives, but in the end, it occurred that actually the platform that we are using is the best way to go. And the whole story started. We implemented some solution. We made some tests, and then after a couple of months after finishing the initiative, we were the one who were recognized as those who are responsible for the observability.
When you're saying that you were kind of chosen, or your team was chosen, but I'm sure you wouldn't be doing it if you weren't enjoying it. So what does observability mean to you? And maybe even a little bit from the philosophical way, because when you are a software engineer, you really work on fixing stuff, but with observability, you really give kind of eyes to what's happening in the system.
Yes, definitely, and that's a kind of I have to say that's a kind of personal preference. I understand and I see it right now, even when talking to front-end engineers, that this is not that all of them are interested in, and it's fine actually. But from my perspective, having this opportunity to trying to find out what's going on without any knowledge, and trying to find the information, trying to find the ways how to get this information was the most interesting one. And that was actually, I have to say, excited. That's why I was so happy that I could join the efforts when it comes to changing the main platform, the New Relic platform, and pick the new one, Coralogix.
And you mentioned that you started as a front-end engineer on the kind of productivity side, developer experience. Has that changed since then, that you are working more also with the backend engineers, with SDETs, with maybe, I don't even know how much you get involved with designers, product managers. So how has your role kind of expanded with this project?
Yes, I have to say that I always felt myself as a kind of full stack engineer, and it was kind of natural for me to actually to join the initiative with backend engineers, with data analysts, with data engineers as well. I had really no problems with that. But this is also related to the previous question you had. There are some fields which actually make me very curious, and this curiosity is something what actually drives my career, if I can say that, because for a long time I was interested in many different things around software engineering, and here I am.
And with the curiosity, I guess you become sort of a data analyst, don't you? Because you have to look at so much data and you have to figure out, okay, this is important. I'm gonna kind of explain that more in detail. Or do you have sort of embedded data analysts that do that?
And that's actually a great question, great context, because with changing the observability platform, with moving to Coralogix, we are actually trying to find a way to enable the engineers to get the proper information directly without any help, ideally. So anyone who is using Coralogix is able to get the information they need. And of course, there are like many methods how to gather that. The platform itself, of course, also some kind of like AI things, which we might
like
also
that
like
AI things. That's
AI things. But in general, the main idea around it is to make it like available and to push this initiative to, like, the whole initiative is actually to push people to be more proactive on that field and to do it by themselves, not waiting for others, just to go there and find the information you need.
So why Coralogix?
And there are like a couple of like issues, couple of problems around it. Like, first of all, we faced the cost problem, which is like obvious in the case of that, like a big platforms. The second, and this is not less important thing, was that actually we were not able to find all of the information we need in Coralogix. And this is like assuming that we have like a big platform. We have like a huge service which is responsible for multiple actions and needs to be reliable. This is like a crucial thing. We just need to have the data and we need to have them like immediately. So when solving the case, the performance case that I mentioned at the very beginning, it was pretty obvious that New Relic is not able actually to provide us all of these things. So that's the second thing, and the third thing, which is also like maybe somehow hidden in the background, but from our perspective was also extremely important, was that Coralogix offer a great support and a great learning paths when it comes to actually teaching developers about the observability. And that's I'm sorry, this is actually one of the biggest challenges that we are also trying to solve right now.
Yeah, I think you had even like a workshop along with people from Coralogix, right, recently in I think in the Prague office. Is there also like are you suggesting things to Coralogix that they are implementing for other companies, like really things that we may be doing that others are not, and it should be there?
Yes, definitely, and that's one of the biggest difference between Coralogix and the New Relic. Actually, Coralogix is listening, and they also like even demand some kind of feedback or expect some kind of feedback from our side. So that's great, and really like it. And I have to say, like, also in the couple of last 2 weeks, we were kind of like active on the feedback field. We had also like a great support when it comes to explaining how the system works. When there are some kind of problems, they are happy to help actually. And on the other hand, I also have to mention that Coralogix instead of New Relic offers this kind of live support in the application itself, which also like I think helps developers to get the proper information quickly.
And when you said AI things, what should I think of? Are those embedded things within Coralogix, or is there some other platforms that the observability team is using, or that we are kind of pushing teams to be using?
Actually, both, because Coralogix itself offers this AI feature which is called Oli. We have the opportunity to test it actually right now, and a couple of developers, as I know, already did that. But on the other hand, Coralogix also offers the MCP server, which is very helpful, and in my case personally, helped me to create some kind of like a POC, let's say, which I think proves at this stage that using AI for the, maybe not for all of the investigations, but using AI for giving some kind of like a hints where to start the investigation could be really helpful. And actually both of them I think might be considered as a valuable tools.
And so when an engineer is looking into Coralogix, sees, let's say, what's going on, where are the gaps, what are then the next steps? Does the person take it out from Coralogix and works it on in a separate kind of bucket, or you do more work within the Coralogix?
We are trying to encourage people to start to play with the service and to start ask questions. For this purpose, we also organized. I have to say that the idea came from Terry Brown, who is director of engineering for platform engineering. And I have to say it was a great initiative. It is still a great initiative because under the hood, there is a group of people who are able to help developers to solve the problems that they may have during working with Coralogix. So when someone is just starting with any feature in Coralogix, we try to encourage these people to ask the questions, to work with them, to just like even meet in person, and just like fix any issues that they see inside the system.
And obviously having a tool is not everything. You can have tool, but you need people working with, as you say. You encourage the engineers to work with Coralogix, but you also run, or your team runs, these guild meetings. So how does using a tool and having guild meetings kind of work together?
Actually, it works pretty well because the whole initiative around front-end observability kindergarten, which is the name of the initiative, works pretty well for, I think, more than 2 months. We were able to gather a group of 10 to 20 people regularly on the meetings who are just like curious about the thing. It's something, sometimes it's just like they are listening, and that's fine. That's absolutely okay, because at some point they will need to just go to the service and start to work with that. So like we are happy that we can help on that field. And on the other hand, the whole observability champions group is still available for them to actually help with solving any kind of issues that they...
People still can join both? People still can join kindergarten and champions?
Like the front-end observability initiative is a kind of weekly meeting where actually anyone can join, but the observability champions group is kind of like let's say closed group of people who are responsible for being like a more engaged on the field of observability, to gather more information, to be up to date, and to be able to actually serve the help to developers.
Kind of bring what is discussed in your channels to their teams.
Exactly.
Why kindergarten? Why is it called kindergarten? Do you have to hold hands of the people, or?
Actually, the name is cheeky. The name was created because we know that observability topic, especially on the front-end side, is not that popular. So we needed to start with the basics, actually. That's why it's kindergarten. But I hope in 6-12 months it will be a university, and everyone on the front end will be able to say anything about the observability. So that's the goal. I really hope, I'm sure we will done it.
Yeah. And do you have any tips for successful guild running? Because I know running a guild is not easy. People always talk about let's have a call, like a group call, and let's talk about, because we used to have a lot of these backend guilds, front-end guilds. I know they still are, and I know they require a lot of work. But is there any pro tip how to run it kind of successfully?
Well, I'm still looking for some feedback. So if anyone actually is keen to give some feedback how it works, what can be improved, I'm really happy. But when it comes to some suggestions, I think like the topics are the crucial ones. So if we are able to provide interesting topic, which might be ideally relevant to the work that the people need to done in this context, like observability, so using Coralogix, using some tool which they will need to implement to their daily work. I think it makes a difference. Of course, I also found that the practical examples are super interesting. So people just have like a practical background of how it works, how it can be utilized. This is kind of like a key thing.
Do you share this before the meetings so that you have discussion over those things?
Yes, I'm trying to share the details before the meeting. So for the past months, I think I was focusing more on the service itself, because it was really important actually to familiarize people with how it works. So that was the first part, but in the next weeks I will try to actually move forward and try to find a way how to explain the whole like observability, maybe theory, maybe also some kind of more practical stuff, maybe AI. So I hope the change will be also interesting for many of these people.
So what's next for you and for your team?
So actually this is kind of interesting stuff, because my team is also like changing right now. We are starting with our own stuff. We'll be creating the core services, and this gives us also opportunity to test the platform and the solutions that we were advising to people. So I'm really curious regarding that. But yeah, like I'm sure it will be also a kind of good example for many of other developers actually how to utilize the knowledge.
So when are you finally driving a bus? Because I know, because when you joined, I always look on all people messages, and one of the things that you mentioned is that your dream is to be a bus driver or to drive a bus. Mm-hmm. So is that something that is in any near future, or is that really like okay, one day?
When the observability at Mews will be at the top level, I promise that I will start driving bus again.
Okay, you can take your team or you can take the kindergarten to a school trip.
Exactly.
So thank you for joining. And as always, if you are in Mews, you can Slack me or Alex. And if you are not in Mews, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or to Alex on LinkedIn. And the question is, do you respond on LinkedIn?
Yes.
You'll get an answer. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.